Was that on the air? Okay. Because that wasn't me. That wasn't me. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Ed Fields here along with Rogan Smith. And we got a good show for you today. We got Paul Maynard, who's the president of the Bahamas Electrical Workers Union. I think I have that right, but I may not. So, you know,
I think that's
it's the people who work it.
whatever.
Yeah.
BW.
B-woo.
That's what I say.
Yeah, sounds like a fast food restaurant. But so we're going to do that.
Excuse me.
I'm going to throw this out. You know, Kelly's is one of our sponsors, in addition to others who we shall name. But they got a thing here because we're coming up to Independence, Rogan Smith, and it's quick. Next week and a half, something like that. Get ready for the celebration and summertime madness with our Kelly's House and Home pre-Independence sale. Catch the sale Friday, June 28th through Monday, July 8th. Save 20% on toys, baby items, linens, paint, and paint supplies, except on net items. We have Independence memorabilia, from Bahamian flags to Thur tumblers and even blankets. Splash it out this summer with pool and inflatables. You know, when the summer comes around, I like to go in that section, with the inflatables and stuff. New patio furniture and so much more. Shop Kelly's House and Home pre-Independence sale Friday, June 28th. Through Monday, July 8th. Happy Independence, Bahamas. Yeah, I'm going to encourage Bahamians to go and trick the houses out, man.
The Americans
Get some
do
flags,
it all the time.
man. Put a flag in front of your thing. I mean, I've got a flag pole and all.
I don't have the pole. That's the only thing.
Oh, I got pole.
You take a moppe.
No, where I got that? I think I got that from Sign Man.
Oh, okay, smart. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a telescopic. It's like it's light. You'd be surprised how light it is.
Really?
Yeah, it's you have a base.
I was gonna ask you. Okay.
You put the base in the ground, and then you can pull off the other pieces.
Oh.
But it's very light.
I have a nice flag, but I don't have the pole.
So like when a hurricane comes by, if you want a pole, Kelly's has those mounting things you can mount on the door. It's like it's just like a little piece of metal that you screw under the door, and then you has a pole, and then you just put the flag in it. It's like a flag pole holder.
Oh, I have to check that out though.
Yeah, check it out.
Yeah, no, for real.
Did you get your conduit?
Did
you get your conduit cover?
No.
No, you're procrastinating.
I am a procrastinator, but I'll get it. And you'll still install it?
I would still install it. It's not that difficult. It's just mostly tape.
I don't know what it is, and it annoys me every time I see it, but yeah.
So, you get those little flag. They're like a bracket. And you just you could do it. You just screw it onto your door.
Google it when you get it.
You just screw it onto your door. It looks like a flat thing that has a little thing
so just
sticking
hanging right
out
from your door.
Yeah, and you just or a wall or whatever, and then you just slide the pole. It comes with a pole, and you just rest the pole in it. So
yeah.
So yeah, and I'm really I want to encourage people on Bay Street especially and everywhere, but my big thing is Bay Street.
Pride?
Yeah, man, stick up a flag, do some bunting.
Bunting?
Yeah, bunting is the thing.
Oh, okay.
You weren't aware of that word?
I didn't know that word for that.
It's bunting. There you go.
Bunting.
Bunting.
Yeah,
bunting.
No, I didn't know that. But yeah, Bay Street. Yeah, I like to see when they go all out
man.
that sort of stuff.
We're gonna decorate Pompey Square and Marlborough Square with some stuff on the poles. So do it to it.
Do it to it. The holiday falls on a Wednesday this year?
Yeah, on a Wednesday.
That's weird.
Of course, we have to do our thing. Let me just tell you, I should have been promoting this because I'm engaged in it. There's going to be, they normally have National Pride Day on the Friday before Independence, and then they do the flag raising and all that. And then they have like a little thing. But this year they're going to have a National Pride Folk Festival on the Saturday. And Pompey Square, Marlborough Square, and George Street going to have like 8 rake and scrape bands rotating, food, beverages, arts and craft. Antonius Roberts is going to have on King Street a whole artists enclave there. It's going to be fun. It goes from about 12 to 8 p.m.
Oh, no.
So it's going to be a nice, fun, come chill, eat some nice. And it's not the traditional, how we like them, 10 after 10, you snapper.
10 after 10.
Tent
what?
after tent.
Oh, tent. Oh, the same foods.
Your snapper, your P&R, your M&C, your C and
hold on.
Your CNS.
P&R. Okay. Look at Kendrick. Kendrick.
Well, once you say snapper, you know what you got.
Kendrick.
You see your M&C.
Yeah. Macaroni and coleslaw.
Macaroni and cheese.
Oh. Okay.
Cheese.
Shut up.
You C and S and you P.
You C and S?
Your coleslaw.
No, C and S. No, it's just
Coleslaw
C.
is two separate words, right?
But you don't say cold and slaw.
No, but
like
you
how
say
you say
coleslaw.
macaroni and cheese.
Yeah, but you don't say. You don't say.
You went wrong.
Okay, no. Excuse me. First of all, let me just say this to you.
I can see you saying your
If anything, with the macaroni and cheese, I would have said MAC because it's macaroni and cheese. But I would appreciate if the person who invented initialing that you wouldn't correct him. Okay, I would appreciate that. I'm in charge of initialing, not you.
Nobody says, "Can I have some coal?"
No, it's coleslaw.
People might say, "Let me get some macaroni."
They might say that, but again, I'm the initialer, and I'm going with my thing. Anyway. So normally that's the case. This time it's not going to be like the guy who does the Nassau Nights thing is organizing the food vendors, and so you're going to have things like Konkan waffles and festival food. That you
can
pick.
You could just carry in your hand real quick and eat.
In fact, we'll have macaroni and cheese, but that person only sells macaroni and cheese.
You know what tastes good? You ever had like a macaroni ball?
No, I've not had a macaroni ball.
It's like macaroni and cheese
in a ball
that they coat and they deep fry it.
Okay.
And so like when you open up all the cheese and all this stuff.
You mean like a macaroni fritter?
Yeah.
Almost. Yeah, I've had that. Yeah.
It's so nice.
So they'll have all kinds of nice things, slushies, and Sandsbury is going to be out there, Echo Water, and Coca-Cola. That Coca-Cola is going to feature the CBC. Coke is one of our sponsors, because I wanted to get the flair of the logo, the Goombay Punch.
Isn't that logo
beautiful?
Amazing.
I tell them. I said to my good friends at CBC. I say, because they own that apparently.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I never knew that.
Yeah, because it's the logo on the can, right? And I said, to me, that is the most undermarketed product because of that logo. Because that's T-shirt. I wish I owned that. If I owned that, remember that used to be on the bags.
Let me tell you something. I go in the straw market a lot looking for Goombay T-shirts. And I just love that logo so much. And they only have like one extra large size, like every single time. Nothing nice, but you could really market that and do so many things with that logo. It's so festive. It's beautiful.
Beautiful, and flags.
Vibrant.
I'm going to say on the end, but I'm going to see them tonight because we're doing a walkthrough. I want one of them shade.
Me too.
I think I want a Goombay Punch hat.
Tell them medium for me, okay?
Yeah, I'll see what I can tell for you. I got to straighten me out first. I can't help you if I don't help myself. Okay? I think it's a great logo. Great logo.
It really
and remember they used to stick the stickers on your suitcase?
Oh my God! I do remember that. Okay. Oh come on, no, because I was like that was like what the place name something in the clouds in the
Cafe in the Clouds.
Cafe in the Clouds. That it feels like a throwback just now.
Well, they used to have like policemen and Bahamian like independent whatever, but then they used to just put the Goombay Punch one. Yeah.
You have a good memory, boy.
Well, that's what they did. But you remember and then there'd be stickers all over the ground. There'd be stickers all over the ground by the airport because it would peel off and then stick on the ground. You don't remember that part, do you?
No, I don't know that part.
Yeah, but that's true.
It'd be on my luggage.
So and that was a sign that you had gone through customs.
Excuse me. Oh, okay.
You see, like when they stick that on, the customs guy used to stick that on. You pass. You clear. Okay. So if you could buy a roll of them, you were straight.
You definitely was straight.
I saw, by the way, talk about ingenuity. I saw something on Facebook. I don't know if it's true.
You know that word?
Ingenuity?
Yeah.
I should have said ingenuity. Huh?
No. Oh. From the video which you showed me.
With the
that
trolleys?
That's what the guy said.
Hey?
Yeah.
There's some ingenuity, mate. Okay, you boys use a trolley. Like they took the trolley.
Stacked them.
But how heavy was that? That had to be heavy, man. That's when when you're desperate, you get straight. Okay? And use that as a ladder to get, and then they got up and then jumped to the roof to pull out the roof.
That's crazy. Ingenuity, bite.
So, see, that's what I also like about Bahamians, right? In spite of how kind of, let's just say, what's the word I want to use? Because I don't want to be offensive.
Criminal.
But how maybe, not necessarily, academically inclined. I think that's the way to put it, right? That yet they still know there's an ingenuity word. You see? We heard the ingenuity somewhere. And we know how to fit that in there.
And it was perfect.
You see?
It was perfect.
Why this baby, this the criminal ingenuity? Nah. Okay.
That was a funny video. I mean, I sorry to say that because obviously it wasn't a good thing what was done.
No, when I first saw it, I said, "Is this a video? Is this upside down?"
That's what. Kendrick, didn't I used to be rotating the phone like, what's going on here? Till I realized what was happening.
I wish that thing had flipped over though. When they got to the top of that, it just flipped. But the ingenuity part of it was that the base was solid.
Yeah.
You see, the base was solid because you had the wide part of the trolley sitting there. They not only is it ingenuity, it's ingenuity engineering. But anyway, yeah. So I'm encouraging people next week. You were talking about what days, Independence. You've got the National Pride Day, which lady or the Governor General will raise the flag and all that. Then the following day, which is good because people can come out on a Saturday. You got lots of visitors in town, cruise ships, right? And we're going to try to make that a fixture for every year. We've got to create a schedule, a calendar of events that people know. You know, this is the first, right? So maybe this grows over time, right? So people know every year they can look forward to this kind of thing. Then they have, I think it's Tuesday night. You know, the police, you know, the terrorist demonstration and all that kind of thing, you know. I just, you know, I want to harp on this again because I don't know what surprise they're going to bring us. And I'm working with the Independence Committee, and they know I say this to them all the time.
What are they doing new this year?
I don't know, but they are actually they are doing something really fantastic. But this is a thing. See, the committee is challenged.
Is it a diverse committee?
It's listen. Here's what I'm saying. I'm not on the committee like the committee, but I'm working with them. No, I'm working with them because of the festival downtown, right? But let me just say this to you. The challenge that the committee has is that there's some people, and I can say this, I can get away with it, who are entrenched in certain things. Like, for instance, you have to have your echo. Communicable. Okay? You cannot... See, the EQ, okay, the EQ, they used to have that separately. But here's the deal. No one really showed up to the EQ. So what they've done is, it's like a force feed EQ. They know they have the tattoo and the raising the flag, so they slip that in there. You see? And now that way people are forced to see it. But now you have that. And I don't have a problem with the EQ. No, not a problem. What I have a problem with is 14 reverence. Because, you know, they all have to say...
I just need them to do something. First of all, I don't know
I can tell you off the air
like.
Something that they're going to have.
That's fine, right? Yeah. But I don't know how diverse their makeup is or whatnot. But I would like to see some fresh ideas. I just feel like what I've been seeing from when I was a child.
Well, tattoo. See, we got to wind up. We'll be back in a second. I'll talk about that. We'll be right back. We're back. Yeah, so we were talking about independence. You know, the whole thing is, like you were saying, without getting into specifics, it's like everything we do, we're steeped in the model. We can't break out. There's no thingum. I don't think, to be honest with you, and they'll say that you have it, I think we should just have, and we're going to have a concert this year, have a big concert, have people bring their barbecues, do the fireworks. You know, people like fireworks.
And I enjoy the reenactment of the flag, the Union Jack coming down and our flag being hoisted up. You know, I do because of the historical value. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So yes, a great concert sounds great, but I think I love paying tribute to our history in that regard. The chasing people down and the dogs and all that stuff. I don't need that.
I think
that's kind of silly, to be honest.
Catching a criminal and shooting a gun at a criminal is necessarily the kind of thing that you want to do at Independence. I just don't feel it's a thing. Now, if you want to have a tattoo, like a separate tattoo, just for the sake of having something and people like to go, because, you know, listen, you know what, we're jaded. You got the kids, you know, they like to see this stuff. They haven't seen it before, you know, fine.
No, but find other things to do.
No, but do it a different time. You don't have to, you know, I don't know what tattoo means. Can you look that up for me? I know it means, I know it means drawing on your arm or something. But what I'm saying is it has to have, it's some British thing that they brought here. And we have the castle and everything. See, because we have to have a castle. You know.
Anyway, like I said on the break, I would like to see us have a humongous Bahamian flag flown at Clifford Park year round.
Yeah.
And I was telling you how, Mexico, I know Guinness World Record, they had like the largest flag in the world that was flown. And they've been replaced by now. But I would love to see that as a beacon. Huh?
Perkins.
Oh, okay.
You know Perkins, the restaurants?
Oh, okay.
You never see them big flags they have? Yeah, we used to try to take them when we was in school.
But I'd like to see that year round so people can know that that's the spot where, we celebrate our
Well, that
Independence
whole place
Day.
needs to be celebrated more than it is, and it will be. It's going to be right after this July, right after this thing. There's going to be a commencement of a renovation of the whole area with flags. And your point is it's a very good idea. In fact, we tried to do it a little bit downtown with that flag by the Dunkin' Donuts. We actually had a bigger flag.
See the military tattoo thing there?
I'm going to read it in a sec. But we had a bigger flag, but it was too big. It was covering the camera. So they tell us we had to pull that down. So we had to put a smaller one.
Yeah,
a tattoo is a military performance of music or display of armed forces in general. The term comes in the early 17th century Dutch phrase, do den tap toe, turn off the tap. Taps, So the tattoo was originally a form of military music, but the practice evolved into more elaborate shows and evolved in theatrics and music. Fine. But I just don't, the music part I get. You understand what I'm saying? I could do the music thing.
The chasing the criminal thing down.
But the dog.
I don't get.
I don't get that.
It's silly to
and
me.
Again, it's cool to demonstrate, like maybe you want to have a day for that, but I don't know how synonymous with independence it is.
What would you like to see? You want Kendrick? I guess you already answered because you said you'd like to see it be like a musical concert, right?
Yeah, like if you go there and you have if you want to do you like the reenactment of the flag thing, right?
I think
so
that's
the
only thing that I like.
So you know what? Go there, have a musical concert. I mean, I say performance like the police band, maybe other bands doing, an orchestra, orchestral. Is that the word? Orchestra with a roll on it. It's a thing. And then you do the reenactment, and then you do the fireworks.
Boom.
Nice out.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, if you want to do the dogs and the terrorists, because, we have one in Exuma, and all of that stuff, then, do a night where we can do that and we can go, okay, this is the military, like with the missiles, because we ain't got no missiles. So we do the dog. But to do it on Independence, I just think, it's just, and then on the actual day, and I think they're gonna try to do this time, but it's at night, is have a concert, have a nice big concert, free concert, where people can come out and bring their barbecue grills and set up their cars and tailgate and listen to music and have a good time.
No speeches, maybe one speech.
None. The only speech is this the next man.
Maybe one speech, because you want to set the pace about whatever, right? Kendrick say no, right?
We on a no speech.
But when I say no,
do the speeches the night before.
3 minutes.
And by the way,
3 minutes.
No,
and then
first
get
of all,
out of there.
we're vetoing your speech. Secondly, if you want to do the speech, do the night before. Now, let me give you another revelation. I don't know if you know this revelation. You know the people who have to sit on that pavilion?
What?
The dignitary them.
What happened to them?
They hate it.
They hate that.
They hate that. I'm revealing their secret.
Why don't they tell the people who
they hate it? I don't know why they don't
just
go
speak up.
I don't. They should. I don't.
Just
I
speak
can
up.
tell you. I can tell you. Let me
All
tell
of you
you.
to come together and say we don't want this.
You know how you can tell they hate it? Watch them. Look at how they look at them sitting there. Okay. Hold on. This is the guest man. Talk to Ken. Hey, guest.
Say talk. This man is a nut job.
He's at the door. The side door.
No, we don't see him there.
Come to the side door, please.
Anyway, they just need to do something completely different. I've been watching the same performance day in and year in and year out, Kendrick.
Yeah, fireworks, a big concert, and
some music.
Yeah, people's participation. John gonna rush out and we go home.
Right.
Yeah, that's it.
Right.
Yeah. Some people bring out the tailgate, bring a little grill, little tents.
I think people just sometimes think that that's their moment now, like to say these elaborate prayers and to say these long.
Excuse me,
speeches.
I'm correcting you. You say they think that's their moment? That is their moment.
I can't.
I can imagine some of them practicing for days to go on and they talk and the speech and the message. Listen, one thing, I was doing a thing for Durward Knowles once. It was a tribute because he was his 50th anniversary of his gold medal, right? So they brought down a big muck from the Olympic Committee, and the function was over at Atlantis, and I was the MC.
Mm-hmm.
And when I looked at the program, Rogan, there were about 20 tributes.
What?
Hold on. 20 tributes. So after about the 8th or 9th, and I'm introducing these people, I said, hold on a second. I couldn't resist myself. I said, look, folks, the Olympic Committee is here, and I'd like to make an appeal to have the Olympics in the Bahamas in the next 4 years. And as you know, anytime you have the Olympics, you get to pick a sport for that particular Olympics. And I'd like to suggest our sport, remarks. Mm-hmm. I mean, we love her for remarks, man. Mm-hmm. You go to any function in the States, their remarks are at a minimum. And when the people come up and speak, it's brief.
Brevity is not in our DNA. Long-windedness is.
It's like our mode, like you say, it's our moment.
I can't take it.
And then, of course, I love this, and we used to do this on 100 Jams a lot when you do this.
What is that?
The Honorable Prime Minister.
Oh, God, don't say the protocol haven't been established.
No, I go into the whole thing now.
I can't take that.
I'm going through the whole thing. It's being established. Nothing yet, Smith.
We
have not established protocol.
Oh, my God.
Your Excellency, dear Marguerite Pinling, the Honorable Prime Minister and Lady Prime Minister.
What?
The members of the Senate. Madam President and members of the Senate. The Speaker and members of Parliament, Cabinet.
Oh my God, I'm dying.
The members of the Supreme Court Justice
and
the Judiciary, members of the Diplomatic Corps. That's my favorite one.
Because they get British on that one.
The members of the clergy. My wife online, she said, before I fix your thing, I need to fix one light in the house, which she's just making up. It's just BS. Yeah, there's no light. Now, just making up, just trying to be trying to prove her territory. Now, I was a diplomatic corps, members of the clergy, members of the public service, and the permanent secretaries, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Good evening. It's a pleasure to be here this evening. That's how they start with everything.
Going into speech.
Okay. It gives me a great deal of pleasure. I mean, and people are just sitting there, and there's no one there excited. There's no one going like, boy, I can't wait to hear about that diplomatic corps. Or like if you go you go from members of the Senate to clergy, boy, he missed out the diplomatic corps,
Guess what?
That's the other thing. What happens?
I think people do get offended if you see somebody goes to the podium and doesn't acknowledge them. While there are people who absolutely detest that moment, there are others who are just waiting. He better call us.
But let me ask you a question. I don't know if you're aware of this, but I'd like you to maybe check into this for me. Are you aware of the sanction if you miss something out?
It's
What do you get? Some lashes?
Hanging by social media.
Yeah. I thought it was penile removement or something. I don't know. It's just ridiculous. Why can't you just go, good evening, ladies and gentlemen? Recognize the Prime Minister. I get it. It's office. The Honorable Prime Minister, the GG, the distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
just go
there
with
you
that.
Go. Yeah, just those.
But they got like a whole page. Because when you see them turning that page now.
You're like, oh my goodness.
The chairman of the Boys Brigade, the commissioner of the Girl Guides, Scout, the honorable leader, the Pathfinders. I mean, come on. And then, of course, the third person has to come up and say,
Protocol having been established?
Protocol having been established.
Oh, my God.
I want someone to jump up and say, establish my butt. Say that again.
Then the third person comes up and says, protocol having been established.
Say that. Say the whole thing again.
Then the fourth person comes and says,
I wasn't here when you established it. I want to hear it again.
Everybody, oh my God, establishes
we
protocol.
have to break out of our stuff.
That's why I don't tune in, to be honest.
Well, I don't go.
I don't go either.
And then, of course, you can have this. And I'm sorry, I have to demonstrate.
The liturgical dance, of course. And this. Look.
It sucks.
That's my least favorite.
Okay. We don't want to see the girls in the long blouse, the long dress, the white dress that says they're pure with the gold top. No. Okay? It's not even. We don't even know what they're doing with their hands. What is the meaning of that?
Oh my God.
You know what we should do one day? We should just go out there and do it with them. Like someone should just run out to say, you know how they used to streak? You know how people used to streak?
Yes.
We should just, what do you call it when you bum rush or whatever? We should just rush the tentacle. Me and you come out there, I've got on a skate, you have a skate on, we just do this thing.
Oh, you didn't mean say naked?
No, we wouldn't do it naked. Because we have to be pure.
We gotta go to break. Gotta go to the news.
We're going to take a break. That'll tentacle, that blow me.
Yeah, you did.
Tentacle dance blow me, man.
That was funny.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Here with Rogan Smith. It's Thursday. It's the day before Friday. Listen, we got a very special guest, Paul Maynard, who's the president of the BEW, who's going to come in a couple of seconds. But we also wanted to bring up this issue with the shark death, how tragic it is. Oh, and we also want to put in perspective, and we're not going to diminish any concern because we're always concerned that this is still a rare thing. Mm-hmm. But it's still, and I think the Ministry of Agriculture and Marine Resources did the right thing in issuing an advisory to people to say, look, just be careful. You certainly don't want to go swimming in the water alone anyway, no matter what you do, because you get a cramp or whatever the deal is. But you be each other's buddy, and you look out. It's a horrific scenario. This is the first time, and I think maybe in the Family Islands I might have heard of. This is the first time I've heard of any sort of shark attack to that thing in near, because that was not even a New Providence, but near New Providence. And of that magnitude, I mean, it was obviously an attack, so we'll have to...
Man, I just felt sick, reading this story, because it's just to hear, to read the comment from the bystander who said that, she saw the woman being put inside of the vehicle, the ambulance, and just seeing, it's just so cool.
The Bahamas, the whole of the Bahamas is a shark protected sanctuary,
which is good.
Which is good. But the only thing that makes it interesting is that with that now, that adds to the concern that you have to have, because obviously it's unchecked. You're not allowed to kill her.
No, and I don't want people to kill. I mean, we're in their territory.
In those cases, which you'd like, because it's not common to see these kind of sharks very close to the coast, right? Is that when you have like a rogue scenario like that, is to catch it and then take it out somewhere deep and relocate it. No,
come right back.
Well, they might or they may not. I mean, you'd be surprised.
I was trying to get to the
but I mean, you'd be surprised where they go back to. But the reality is, you just don't say, okay, we're going to keep it there. You try to make try to do something other than killing it.
You don't want. I don't want them killed
because if you don't have some sort of management protocol to do it, then there will be people who will say, you know what. I ain't fooling with that.
Yeah, but that's their territory at the end of the day.
No, it's not Rose Island. It's not their territory. Sorry, their territory is out in the deep blue sea.
The ocean.
This the sea. See this?
The ocean.
See,
our territory is land.
No, I made a decision.
No.
The sea is fast.
Like Kendrick say, you don't see them at the bus stop.
They don't have no Sanders Beach.
You don't see them in Marina
Sanders
Village.
Beach. You know what Sanders Beach for? Weenie roast. That's what it's for. Okay? Weenie roast.
Now
that's it. Okay?
They don't come on our side.
Fellas say, I'm going to do a segue into our guest. I saw a thing from Sawyer Boy, who I think is probably borderline genius, right?
Sawyer Boy is so funny to me.
But I got to get him on the show. I think he and I could have a good time.
I think he should come on.
He was doing the thing, because you see, this is the kind of thing you can do with the technology now when you see, because listen, you know what comedy is about? Comedy is observation. Mm-hmm. That's all it is. Yeah, you can write a joke, but it's observation. Another day he was passing this guy in Goodwood's Go Slow Bend, and the guy was laying on top of his car, and it was around about midnight. He says, you know how hot you gotta be to come over to your house to lay on top of the car at night? And then he just kept repeating that, you know how hot you gotta be?
I so love it. And I love how he uses his Bahamian accent. Yeah. It's hilarious.
Wait, you know how hot you gotta be to come out your house 12 o'clock at night to lay on the top of your roof at the Go Slow Bend? Mike, you know what I say? Anyway, so having said that, and heat, we're going to take a little break, and we're going to introduce
Paul.
Paul. I've known Paul a long, long time, so I'm going to, we're going to go at it, he and I. But, we'll be civil. We'll be right back. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Ed Fields here along with Rogan Smith, and thankfully we have with us this afternoon the president of the Bahamas.
Rogan Smith, the lovely
so
Rogan Smith. Man.
Excuse me. Do I come down to your place and try to do some Transformers and anything like that?
I think if you scared.
Yeah. Anyway, we have with us Paul Maynard, who is the president of the Bahamas Electrical Workers Union.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing about the Bahamas, which is interesting, right? It's very you can't really get this in too many places. I guess maybe the Caribbean. Right. You can't really sit in front of an electrical union president who you knew from grade school.
That's how far back
yeah.
Oh, really?
Dartmouth College.
So you can't. You see, in the States, you talk to a guy is a complete stranger, right? But in the Bahamas, you can, whether it's the president of the Electrical Workers Union or whether it's the president or the chairman of the board, it's just. Well, listen, man. We're taking a miss. You're your sister. That's how we go in the Bahamas. So that's why we should not have these non-civil.
Michael, my brother.
Was
classmates.
Yeah. We shouldn't have these disputes where there's a lack of civility because we know each other, man. We're family. Now, Paul, I want to put a premise to you, and it may seem biased, but I'm not trying to do it from that perspective. How long have you been with BPL?
31 years.
31 years. So you've been around through thick and thin.
Of course.
Now, the reality is, I heard from someone the other day that we have a machine, one of the generators or something like that, is like from the 1960s. Is that accurate?
No. I think the oldest machine we have that's in operation now is from the early 80s.
So it's old.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, we have that situation. I'm just going to frame this way. And we have, I understand, you can correct this if I'm wrong, that at one point, many years ago, some of the training regiments were discontinued. Is that accurate or disaccurate?
Yeah, that's accurate.
That's accurate. We have a situation where in terms of funding, which I know is a big thing in your docket, where at one point we reduced rates that we maybe shouldn't have done.
That's correct.
Okay, that's correct. We have an archipelago where we have to subsidize.
But in fairness, in reducing the rates, it was the hotels that demanded it.
Okay, but it rated it.
Yeah.
Well, I understand when correct me if I'm wrong, that Mr. Roberts wanted to also reduce it for the benefit of the people. The rates were very high.
Yeah.
We also have a scenario where you have an archipelago where we have to essentially subsidize places that have as few as 50 people. Okay.
Everyone has to have the same.
They have the same lifestyle, right? Although, in the States, if you want to go live out in the boondocks, they'll tell you that's good for you. Handle it yourself.
You're off the grid.
You're off the grid. Okay? You're happy that you live there, and we'll see you when you come into town.
Yeah, you're
okay? We don't do that. We got to provide an airport, a school, a clinic, and everything for everyone.
Which is essentially the problem.
Right. Because I understand, you can correct me if I'm wrong here. I just want to put, you've been around, so I want to put the framework out there. So when we have this discussion, I understand that if we didn't have the family islands to subsidize, and by the way, the big cost of subsidy, from what I understand, Paul, is not only just the operations itself, but actually transshipping fuel to these islands, right? So I understand that the rates would have been, the surcharge of the fuel would have been around in the low double digits to possibly single digits if we didn't have the family islands to subsidize.
That's correct.
Okay.
Then you have Abaco that pays for itself. Bimini pays for itself.
Grandma's off the grid.
Yeah, Grandma's
Spanish Wells is off the grid.
Right. And Exuma, Eleuthera breaks even, I think.
Okay. All right. So you have all of these scenarios, right? And then of course you have a situation where you have an oil plant, right?
Very old.
With that is reliant on crude and diesel.
Bunker C,
and now because of the
boilers are not working, it's ADO.
The one that the ones that burned down.
Right.
We now on the diesel, right?
Right. We're on ADO.
Which is double the price of the crude. Is that correct?
Triple.
Well, sorry for correcting me. Triple. So you have this thing. Now I want to ask you this because in order to be fair, and I think you try to be fair. You at least you make some appearance of being fair. You're a good actor. When you look at the historical, and by the way, let's not forget, nice word that we didn't remember, the legacy debt Of what? How much? How much you talking
the
about?
legacy debt will be about $600 million. $600 million. Yeah.
Okay. That's a big piece because that's now
plus the pension liability.
Well, we ain't gonna get into that because that's
a whole new story altogether.
Let's not even put the pen. I'm surprised you bring that up, but listen, I don't want to put that into.
Bring it up.
Yeah, but I don't want to put that into the mix.
Everybody has to know what's going on.
Yeah, but I don't want to put that into the mix because that is what it is in terms of benefits, etc. Right?
Yeah.
But let's put all of those other things into play, which are plant related.
Yeah.
Which, if you didn't have those issues, the pension issue mightn't be a big issue.
No.
Okay? So let's put that aside for now, okay? Because we can get with your compensation stuff, because y'all got some good stuff down there, I understand. You're smiling. Sure. Anyways, okay. So you put that into play, and you say, okay, now we know where there's been a plan put on table where you're headed.
Yeah.
Okay, in terms of new generators, new turbines, whatever. I don't know what these things are called. And a new plant that will take LNG. In fact, from what I understand, it's versatile, right?
Yeah, it's tri-fuel.
It can take anyone, right?
Yeah.
So people know where we're headed. From all of that I just enunciated to you, that you confirmed, from an old, dilapidated, out-of-date plant to where we now know we're going to have a new plant. Is it fair to not give that a chance to work? And I understand. And by the way, let's add in this, Paul, because we got to add this in. The fire with the boilers, as a result of that fire, can maintain and what you call it, preventative maintenance, the existing plant, right?
Right.
Then you got all of a sudden out of the blue fire in Bimini. I mean, these are some extraordinary circumstances.
Yeah, but see.
Now tell us what your perspective is.
See, the thing about it is, right, is okay. They decided to do this electricity reform in 2012. All right. The problem is they put it in the wrong hands. You know, there was this Indian, they put it in, but we didn't get into all that. Yeah. But the point is, everyone messed around.
Right.
At the end of it, they decided, okay, you know what, we're going with
what do you got?
No, we're going with what was it? What was the company?
Shell?
No.
Power Secure?
No, it was Power Secure.
Right.
And then while they was in that, they decided, you know what, of New Fortress. Fortress wanted to put a bulking station. No, bulking station.
Okay.
Because, you know, all cruise ships have to be LNG.
Right.
That go into the States in 2020, I think. 2020, I think.
Years,
2020. Anyway. So they want to put a bulking station there because there's no place to put a bulkhead in the States. So they want to put one hand in Freeport to fuel the cruise ships and all the ships and stuff in Freeport. Anyway.
That's really the big price.
Right. That was the big price.
Yeah.
Right. So, you know, the DPM at the time, Brave Davis, decided, you know what, well, since you're going to do this, you know, okay, why don't you deal with this electricity for us? And they didn't really want to do it, but they got into it. They did it. They said, okay, we'll do it. And they were going to put a 380 megawatt air derivative plant.
A what?
Air derivative. That's GE engines.
Okay.
They're the modern thing now. It's like an aircraft engine. Clip them in and clip them out. And they were going to do that at Blue Hills. Okay. So, the new government changes.
And by the way, that decision was made about 3 or 4 months before the election.
Right.
Okay.
Right. New government kicks in. So, all right, they decided, you know, no, we're not going down that road. We're going to go with Shell.
Well, they did an RFP.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And they put out the RFP again. Right. They decided, no, we're not going to go with Fortress anymore. We're going to put our RFP out and we're going to go with Shell. Okay. So, fine. Decision was made. Boom. All right. So now we get Shell in here, and on the side, they also make this deal with Wärtsilä to bring in, I think it was 80 at the time, and 50 something became available, and so 52 became available, and so that was also thrown in it, right? Okay. The problem is, I don't think that we need to go down the road of going to reciprocating engines. Reciprocating engines are, for road grounding, are engines that have pistons in them, like your car. That's a reciprocating engine. The new technologies around, everyone is going to air derivatives or turbines. And that would have been a better, because you're going to use LNG, that would have been a better option for you to use turbines. That's what they use in the States. And they have every extreme of the way there. Our CEO, of course, don't buy into that idea. He likes the reciprocating, so, you know, they went with what they went. The thing about it is, okay, we have 115 megawatts of rental units. It's costing us as of this year.
Because we don't have
because we don't have the capacity,
Yeah,
right? So Agreco is there, and it's costing us $30 million a year.
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Almost $30 million a year to rent them. So they said, we got to get rid of all these engines. Now, putting these engines down there, the 132, that's fine. The problem is that's not going to solve the problem. The reason it's not going to solve the problem is because if you send a Greco home to save money, you now are going to be back to square one, because you can still have the units that are breaking down, or just breaking down. You're going to have to keep them going, and they're going to be kicking out again in the next summer. So, and to alleviate that, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to keep 50 or 60 megawatts of rental power until you get another 100 megawatts of power.
But isn't that coming in with the Shell deal?
If they come.
Yeah. But I want to frame it this way as well. It's important to frame it. What I want to talk about first, and we're going to talk about the union, we're going to talk about the future, right? But what I want to talk about is what exists now.
Yeah.
Because what exists now is nothingness.
Right,
okay?
Nothing.
It's like me having a car that I'm just taking, it's gone. It's a 1990 car, a 1980 car.
Because
they don't even make the parts no more.
Because tonight we're 20 megawatts short again.
Okay? We don't even make the parts anymore. So what we have now is a dilapidated plant that if Paul Maynard tomorrow inherited running that plant, there is nothing the difference between me, Rogan, Ken, Ed, or whoever running the plant, because at the end of the day, we still have the 1980 car. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's
okay.
Correct, yeah.
So this is something that is important for me to talk about, because at the end of the day, in order for something and by the way, it's very important for me to say this, very important. This does not dismiss the pain and the suffering
the people
that the people are feeling.
Businesses are feeling.
Okay, because the reality is, if I have a 1990 car, don't explain to me I have a 90 car if I still can't get to work.
Especially the small businesses.
Okay, we got to take a break, Paul. We'll be right back. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Paul Maynard, president of the Bahamas Electrical Workers Union, is here with us this afternoon. We outlined all the historical legacy stuff. So it's important to outline that so people know what we're up against, because a lot of decisions that you and I make to 5 years ago, we're having to pay for it today.
No question about that.
Okay, yeah. and someone who may be, it's like me going to a doctor. Okay, and I ate, salt and junk every day.
A cheeseburger.
And I go to the doctor today, and he say, man, you got a serious place to cholesterol, man. And I go, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Well, you can't get it together. I come to you to fix it. No. See, you ate the greasy food, and your arteries are clogged. I did not do that. I'm trying to now assist you in the way forward, but guess what? I am not responsible for your clogged arteries, okay? Right. And is that a good analogy?
Yeah, but I think, that in this whole thing, a lot of people, if you see one of the Bahamians, you gotta be upfront with them. They can get mad at you, but you gotta be upfront with them. And that's what I think the problem is. The problem is you are not informing people what the stark reality of the situation is. Okay. All right? And I've always tried to do that. And I've told people that, when they said they wasn't going to load shed this summer, I sucked my teeth. So you got to be crazy. You'll be load shedding like it's no tomorrow. All right? I said that from the start. You must inform people. They was calling me a drama queen and this, that, the next. But I knew, see.
But it was never a promise that it wouldn't happen,
I agree. But see, 31 years of experience told me that it's going to happen, because I'm used to what's going to happen. Now, when you're dealing with we have ancient equipment that breaks down, and when you have that, you got a problem. So I know there's going to be load shedding.
Right.
Now, GE number one that died. It's gone. So they had to bring in 25 megawatts of rental, right? Okay, that happened in May. I think it was in March. It's February or March. So the thing was, okay, so when you get all these new rentals, because that's you in any point I'm BSing about, you got to replace this.
Right.
All right, so they decided, well, what we're going to do, blah, blah, blah. They went out to tender, they asked for offers of what they could do. The easiest thing would have been done is to go to places like ATR or something like that and say, listen, move this G unit off here and put one there. All right, work something out. All right, so they didn't do that. They says, okay, we're going to rent from Agreco. They asked Agreco for additional 25. So we got together in May, beginning of May, and says, okay, you know what? This is what we got to do. Agreco says, well, this is what's going to happen. It was supposed to be from June the 4th, between June the 4th and June the 11th. So if that,
but I understand you had some weather issues,
yeah,
right? No, I'm just talking about shipments and stuff like that. But that's what you were predicting. You can't be certain, right?
Right. But what I'm saying is, though, they messed around as well, and they're still messing around because they're ready to go. Everything's in place for them, and I think they've just delivered 10. Yesterday, they delivered 5 on Monday, 5 on Tuesday, and 5 yesterday. All right? Today, they haven't come up with anything. They say they have some technical problems or whatever. But the point is, the kind of money we're paying them, right? We ain't supposed to be hearing no whatever, right? $30 million by no sense of imagination is no drop in the bucket.
That's right.
All right, and I said to the minister and the co, and I said another thing. What the ministers need to do is get a bat to their head and say, listen, either you're going to get this together or.
You mean this is a supplier?
This is Agreco. Because you ain't doing us no favors.
Right.
Either you can get this together or pick up all the units and get out.
But do you get to a point? But do you get? Well, then that's the other thing.
Right.
You see, because that's the other thing. Because to pick up the bat mean that I got to suffer for 5 more months, whereas opposed to if you ain't got it together, maybe it's only 3 more weeks.
Yeah, but you can't be charging us the kind of money you're charging, and then you making excuses.
Well, you got to make some transactional arrangements.
And then these things eat fuel. They drink it like kids drink lemonade in the fridge and the thing, right? Well, no, I try. So you see your surcharges, man. Yeah. You see your surcharges, man, right?
What is it up? Down?
It's through the roof.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm paying almost $300, and my bill is only $187. Right?
I want to ask you this. Prognosis. Okay. So now we know because we had to go behind tractors that move at 1.5 miles, right? Mm-hmm. I understand all of those engines, generators, but I don't even know what you call them. The big things on the truck have been delivered.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Right.
They're, I assume, in place.
Right. Those are the stuff that drive the generators.
Right. Those what are they called? The turbines?
Yeah. No, they're the engines that drive the generators.
So let me just make it. We got new engines.
Yeah.
What about the generators?
Generators, they know. Yeah.
Okay, so you got a full set.
Right.
So essentially, you have a new plant here.
Right.
Okay.
And they're going to take a while to install.
Yeah.
What 2-3 months?
Probably.
Longer.
Listen.
Well, just
I say November. I don't see it coming on before December 1st.
Okay. All right.
They say October 1st. But
yeah. Okay. Well, my thing is, once it ain't next summer.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. Can you say, Mr. Maynard, that it's not next summer? Because
it shouldn't be.
The problem that we know we have, I mean, to your point about what we experience in the summer, we know we're going to have this problem in summer because why? Oh, just, they have the perfect storm going down there.
Hard to say.
Okay?
Yeah.
Okay? You got the 1985 car, the what do you call it? The manufacturer don't make the parts no more. They ain't even in business no more. Okay? Forget about making the parts. You got to go on the internet to find something.
Yeah, but what did your school teachers and everything always say? Whatever could go wrong, really.
Will go wrong, right? Murphy's rule.
And that's what's
going on. But
you know
what? There's a thing though that while that might be the case, there may be something that you can't do. You just can't do anything about it. But the main thing is this, and I think that it's a cacophony of errors, right? We've got, if there's one grouping of people you can blame historically, it's political interference, right? I mean, there's no doubt about that in my mind. That the fact that you have and I know you're gonna like this, the fact that you have a publicly run company.
I don't really get into politics because I've become a nationalist now. So colors don't make no difference to me. But see,
I'm talking about all
right. Yeah, but see, what you got to realize is there's certain latitudes that the GM and the CEO has. Mm-hmm. I mean, you're looking at guys that making more than the prime minister. Mm-hmm. All right, but yet still, when everything goes wrong, everybody blames the politicians.
No, not, right? But don't they have to? It's a publicly owned facility.
Yeah, but listen, the board runs it. But see, you work at a private facility.
Right.
And you make a mistake, we'll see you. Mm-hmm. That's the way it is.
Yeah.
All right? Okay. So, see, what the government needs to do, only people from my union can be fired, all right? Or the other unions and the other little units in the country, they fire them right away. But when managers and the bosses make a mistake, they cloak them. And you need to stop that. You need to make everybody accountable. Because I'm telling you, these guys make $100,000 more than the prime minister. Okay, you only got BC to run. The prime minister's running the whole country. All right? What, you taking the blame for him and he making more than you? You got to be crazy.
But let me ask you this question. Have you ever been in your 31 years seen where managers, by the way, I can tell you, my uncle is, right? My cousin is, right? You know my cousin is?
No, who was your cousin?
Peter Bell.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Peter, yeah.
Yeah, okay?
One of the best of mine.
Yeah. Okay. Now, you have scenarios, though, where management can also make decisions that are good decisions, and sometimes they may have been overruled by the politicians. Yeah,
that's fine.
So, I just think that what we have experienced, and this is why whoever is going to now take, for the next era, it's going to be on their plate, right? Because there's been such a menagerie of errors over the last, 40 years?
Yeah, but remember now, the Electricity Act got changed in 2016.
Okay.
So the government does not have as active of a role in the corporation as it used to have. It has a minuscule role, as a matter of fact. Right? They set up the report, make the reports and stuff like that. But, basically, they're power to themselves now.
If in 2012, what we're experiencing now in terms of new plant had been in place, from your perspective, would we be experiencing what we're experiencing now?
No.
Okay. No. That's now. Let's talk about your constituents and your folks.
My hard-working constituents.
Well, you like to add in these adjectives. Lovely Rogan.
No,
lovely Rogan.
Listen,
you are a politician.
Listen, no.
You're hardworking constituents.
Listen, you need to come down to that plan. And if right now the index is 110 degrees.
Yes.
Now you can imagine you up on top of that. You up on top of that engine, that hot engine, right? And the engine is 180, 190 degrees, and the guy has to get on top of that. He's down in his boxer shorts and his boots.
Did I not on the air say to you about hardworking?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right, okay.
So did I not defend?
But he putting that in perspective so you understand.
Listen. You don't need to put it in perspective for me. Right. I don't want to just stand outside. I'm not talking about waking. So don't have you need to put it in perspective. No, I told you that I told you, and you and I used to be on the phone. I told you that Rogan Smith can tell you because we were here during the hurricane how defensive I was.
Yes, you was. Yeah.
Okay, of the workers at BEC and how impatient and not non-understanding. We got hit by a hurricane. What is it that you don't understand? Me and you got in a big argument.
And you got to realize that BPL, right? At water and sewage, they make a mistake. You just go home and change your clothes. No, you change your clothes. They make a mistake. Your clothes again. At BPL, they make a mistake. It's Lakeview Cemetery. That's where you are.
Oh, yeah.
So
but you know what? If y'all make a mistake and BP and water and sewage go down there and touch some water before y'all turn it off, it's Lakeview Cemetery too.
Right.
So okay. So the point I'm making to you, Paul, is so you have a hard-working constituency. And by the way, I think people understand that. Well, actually, no, they don't understand it, and that's why I get a little. You see, my defense of BPL isn't just about management. My defense of BPL is about BPL, okay? That the people, men and women, line staff, management, mid-management, have been saddled with no resources. I can just go on the stream, okay? They go to the extreme with no resources.
You can be right.
So no matter who it is, so what's happening is you just have a pointing of fingers in every different direction.
And we just got to work it out.
Except where the problem is.
And we just got to work it out.
The cars in 1980. That's the problem. Not that this what I do in a job. We're gonna take a break and we come right back. So obviously we're here with Paul Maynard, who is the president extraordinaire of a hardworking union. Now we obviously going to have management on, and we'll hear both sides of this.
I just want to ask him a real quick question. What's the purpose in your mind of the protest which you were calling for? I mean, what is that going to accomplish considering that we know what this dilemma is?
Listen.
supposed to do what?
Bahamians, no. See, Bahamians, they're on Facebook.
Protesting on Facebook.
Right, Facebook, right? Okay, fine. If you really want to affect a change, right? You got to forget the colors, forget the red, the yellow, and the green, right? Get together as Bahamians, and if you really want your voice to be heard, like Adam was saying, get down to yourself.
Yeah, but there's got to be an end goal. At the end of the day,
yes, I understand
the truck only can move a mile and a half.
I hear what
you can't make it move 4 miles.
I hear what you're saying, but see, what you got to do is you got to force BPL to be accountable. You have to force BPL to make up a damn schedule, let everybody know when they're supposed to go off, etc.
Okay. But they said the reason why they don't want to do that because of their fears about
garbage.
Activity.
No, Paul. Let me use your words. Right. You said that in terms of this scenario, right?
Yeah.
There's unpredictability. Mm-hmm. Someone could say you could have, and then someone run into a pole, or the plant burn down somewhere.
Hold on. Uh-huh. The criminal is going to be the criminal. They're going to find out where beast is going to load shit anyway.
What? What are you saying?
It's just like you said. Hold on. It's just like you and Eric used to say.
Oh, he's quoting history now.
Oh, you got me handicapped because the police wouldn't give you a handgun, and they do. They got you handicapped because the criminals can have handguns. The criminals can have what they want, but they got me and you handicapped because they wouldn't give us a concealed permit, and they wouldn't even let us have a handgun. Now,
yes.
if we had a handgun, just like in Texas, everyone would be scared.
What does this have to do with the
what it has to do with is this, right? People want to know when they're going to be off.
Right.
They want to be given
some idea. I agree with
that 100%. Right? They might want to, you know what?
I'll get the kids ready
and I'll
go out, right? Yeah. Or I'm going to turn my appliances off. I just want to shut my stuff down because I don't need BC the power because when the power it's a Russian current, and they don't want that.
Yeah.
You gotta be, and you also need to be honest with people. Tell them, listen, we are having these problems right now. We got to take DA10 off tonight. Mm-hmm. That's gone for 4 or 5 days because we got to do some work there. So that's 20 megawatts gone, right? Oh, hopefully GD10 will come back tonight. It's supposed to come back this afternoon. I mean, this evening,
because
right?
There are 3 generators that are in bad shape, right?
Okay, so and after that, then DA13 has to come off. It is what it is.
So how do you create a schedule around that kind of uncertainty?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is this.
You got D1 and F3 and all that.
What I'm saying is this, right? Uh-huh. You need to get a Greco in shifting the gears and listen, give us the 25 megawatts we're supposed to get. Right?
Are those here yet?
Yes, they're here.
But they're not up and running.
Everything's in place. They got to get them up and running.
Well, why are they not running? They're new units.
I don't know.
Well, you know things.
Why
Tell
is
us
the sun out? I don't know. Listen.
Why is the sun out? Because it's the day.
Yeah, but listen. these are the foreigners, man. They do what they want to do, right? But you got to tell them, listen, man. You ain't doing us no favors here. You ain't giving us no discounts. All right, you being paid to do something. Absolutely. Get the damn things on. That's what you got to stress to them. All right, call the CEO of the company. Mm-hmm. So now we're here. All right. So what happens is
like Drake.
This is not an easy by any shot.
No, this is rough
right?
time, man.
Because right now
the one thing I heard you say, we're in crisis.
Right. Yeah. This is a crisis. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right. Mm-hmm. The problem is the CEO refuses to say it's a crisis. Mm-hmm. I own the crisis and say, listen, let's get in the crisis mode and see what we can do.
Now let me ask you a question. First of all, there is a part now. You talk about megawatt. It's a capacity issue, right? You load shed for one reason, ladies and gentlemen, because of capacity, correct? All right. And when we start losing generators, etc., you start losing capacity, correct? All right. Now, the reality, though, is a modern Bahamas contributes to the problem on the other side of the equation, okay? You can buy now a ductless unit air conditioner for like $600.
Which is very efficient as well.
Right? But it still pulls if 30,000 people using it.
Right.
Okay?
But it's very efficient. It doesn't pull that much.
Okay.
You can put it in a 10 amp breaker and it works.
Okay.
Usually you have air conditioner on a 30 amp breaker.
No one knows what you're talking about.
Right.
You're in the electrical
world. Okay, all right.
Okay,
well,
just say pull. Just say pull. You got the D8s and the 3-1 and the bombs and all that.
Pull as
okay,
much
just
power.
say don't pull. You know what I'm saying?
There we go.
Okay, just say don't pull penny power.
Okay. Yeah.
Current. We like to say current.
Current, yeah.
Okay? Okay. No one knows. You hear with amps, Rogan. You can put on 30 amp.
And by the way, right? And by the way, everybody complains about, well, why don't you turn the Lanas off and Bama? Mm-hmm. Listen, Lanas and Bama have been very nice to us. when they go during the day. We've been able to Monday and Tuesday not really load shed today because Atlantis and Belmont agreed to go on generators. But see, you got to realize that that's costing them, right? And furthermore, BPL really can't afford to have Atlantis and Belmont off because they pay their bill on time every damn month, or the whole bill. All right, so you know it's the same thing having Life and Key off. You know, you don't want to have Life and Key and Old Fort Bay and Albany off because everybody there pays the bills, and those bills are $10,000 a month and stuff like that.
You need to pay the money to fix the generators.
Right, you need the money. So you know,
this is your column, by the way.
You just can't be turning.
It's a terrible situation.
Yes, of course.
Now, Paul, we got it. We know that that probably at this stage of the game. I'm going to ask you: would conservation at this stage of the game? Is that the right word? Conservation?
That's the right word.
Yeah. I always mix that up with being conservative, but conservation. Would conservation in a really serious, approach to it, pull down where we don't need those 20 megawatts?
What you do is, government is the biggest abusers of the situation. Every office in government is lighted. They got everything. They got everything running. The air conditioning is to the highest. It's like, listen. They need to rethink this whole scheme. And they said, listen, we're in crisis mode in Panama. You're right. What happens in Panama at night? They turn all the lights down.
Could we turn our street lights off?
No, you can't.
I don't think you want to
because it's not safety.
But what you want to do, well, they have made the move to install solar. I mean, not solar, install LED lights, right? Right now, when the sun goes down, 10 megawatts automatically goes to the street lights. That's a lot of power.
That's what I'm saying.
Right, a lot of power.
10 megawatts.
That's 10.
10
you're
to
saying
12.
we need 20. So that's 10 right there.
Right, goes automatically to the street lights. So, okay, if you change everything to LED, now you got 2 to 3 megawatts only going to street lights.
Where are we on the LED plan?
Well, they're working it out.
Okay.
They're working it out. Anyway, but that ain't available to us now, so any point is worrying about it.
All right.
Now, if the government buildings can put their air conditioners at night to 80.
Because you can't turn it off.
Right.
Because it's mold and all that
If
stuff.
you can put it to 80, 70, 79,
because then it doesn't work so hard to get cool down again.
Right?
Yeah.
And you turn everything off, all the lights, everything off, right? You talking at least 5 to 6 megawatts that you've saved.
Wow.
All right? And all the other office buildings, they do the same thing. Now you're conserving, and that's what you need to do. You need to have a conversation about this situation, and you have to get everybody involved into the thing.
This is a good point.
Right? You need to tell people in the houses, listen, we're in crisis mode.
Everyone can't have on the same
kids
TV.
Can't have a doggone lights on every house.
Every room got the TV.
Every room got a TV. Well, no, LEDs is fine. Because they most of them LEDs now.
The
kids
TVs?
playing their gaming and stuff. Yeah, they're LEDs.
Okay.
Because
my man Leslie say you wash it every night.
Right.
You can't be washing and drying every night. What do you say?
But bathing.
Yeah, you're bathing every night.
Yeah. The point is, right? If you can turn the water heaters off at night, the stuff like that, you got to do things.
Yeah.
Well,
the water heater should be on a timer. Period.
Yeah. Right. You're right. Unless you got millions of dollars.
Well, it still should be on a timer.
Yeah,
you're
right.
Just,
But the point is, and then too,
by the way, it's probably the rich people who have it on the timer.
But then the government, right? The government can do these rich people have solar, and the government can do things. The government can do things.
Yeah.
One, I said to the Minister of Works in 2014, I said to him, listen, what we need to do is you need to put the duty on those little windows that wind up and stuff, 1,000%.
What windows you talking
those,
about?
The normal windows that people put in their house. Those old style windows. The little ones
little
that wind up.
windows?
Yeah. I put it at 1,000%. Bring down the hurricane windows to absolute zero.
Yeah. Are they're not zero now?
I don't know what they are.
But
all right. Make it mandatory that every house here, like in Israel, see my people, the Jews.
Well, just like
everybody, my people, the Hebrews.
You see here the Jewish say.
My people, the Hebrews, right? What you got to do is you got to put a solar panel on every house in this country.
Precisely.
Right? That controls the water. See, you got to plan for this thing. We got long-term planning. We got to put a 40, 50-year plan in place, and no matter which government run, they keep following the plan.
Could it be, Mr. Maynard, sir, that we are in such a melee that thinking through all of these things, and I know it sounds silly to say that you can't do that, but there's so much stuff going on that the focus is on just getting the thing up and running?
Hey.
Is that the focus right now?
You need to focus.
Somebody got to be focused
on the long term.
And listen, a lot of it's short term stuff because right now, if you can get everybody in gear and say, you know what, let's start thinking energy saving, you will bring the mega wattage, but we require at night down. And so, you won't have to do as much load shedding. You can put your commercial customers on generators and stuff, and you may get through the peak of that.
How much mega wattage is being used or consumed at night in New Providence?
It, for instance, let me give you a figure. If today's figure is today's figure is 220 megawatt I'm generating a day. At night, you add 30 onto that. An extra 30 onto that.
That's the biggest problem, by the way, in solarization, I understand, of the Family Islands, is the fact that the load is at night.
Yeah, the load is at night.
And so the battery storage and all that becomes an issue.
Solar, I had Graham Redder for them run over the solar all the time. So solar is fine if you have an industrial economy, right? Because, you're using your industrial income. Yeah. But the batteries are very expensive and stuff, and you need a lot of space to have those batteries and stuff. You can do a combination. You can have solar running in a day, and you have inverters that directly turn to the AC from DC to AC. You can do that. Yeah. Yes, but it's expensive.
No one knows what you're saying.
Right, it's expensive technology.
Yeah, no one knows. When you go into that DC and inverter and all that, I got to bring it out today, okay? Now,
it converts it.
Again, we just want, you know what we know?
Yeah.
Push that button over there behind you. Yeah. On, off. That's what we know.
And this is what I tell them. This is what I tell them, right? I tell the people in this country, listen, man, the Prime Minister, where there's Perry Christie, Hubert Minnis, Hubert Ingram, they couldn't even turn the light switch. If the room goes dark, they don't even know the light switch is to turn on. Right? I don't know what you're blaming them for. Don't blame them. Let's stop blaming the politicians.
Okay. Now, let me ask you a question, Mr. Maynard. Okay. You know who you take after?
Who? Faki?
How you can take after Faki? His last name is Maynard.
Oh, Dud.
Okay.
So no, I thought you meant temperament-wise.
No. You remember the last time we had Dud on? Okay.
Yes.
So anyway, let me ask you a question. Mr. Maynard, sir. To the Bahamian people. Well, first of all, we have to come together in any crisis. You start shouting and screaming at everyone. No. And I'm going to ask you one other question. Well, three questions I have to ask you. One. Diesel is very expensive, and I know, but there are some people who can afford it. Yeah. In looking at the time period, right? Because you're talking about 2 months because of the peak of the summer, right? It'll start to go down. No, I'm talking
longer than that.
But I mean, where's the demand? The demand goes. What is the peak demand from when?
Remember now, we are hot until the middle of November.
Okay, all right.
Right to the end of November.
Okay,
that's when the first thing comes down.
Right.
So I mean, you at this rate, at the rate we're going now, and what's
July,
going on,
August, September.
Right. We got October.
Okay.
Right. October. And if November's hot,
assuming that the generators aren't up.
The generators ain't gonna be up.
Okay, we can hold you that one. Yeah. Okay, because you got that star, David on.
Know.
Now, assuming because one might come up. Let me ask you a question. These generators that they have, right? What's the total megawatts on that?
132. They got 18 megawatt units, I believe.
Do they all have to come up at the same time, or can they come in phases?
Yeah, but see, you have to. They have testings and stuff they got to go through.
All right. But I'm asking you if they can come up in phases, or they have to all come on the same time.
I don't know. What Zilla is tooting this plan is the ultra modern.
I'm asking you, your history and your understanding of generators.
No, you could probably have one running, but I mean,
Well, so that one would make up for some of the lack of. That's what I'm saying.
I hear what you're saying, but Zilla may not want to do that.
Well, you telling me they got to do what we want to do, but anyway, that's another story.
Another story.
The other question: should Bahamians who have generators, if it would be allowed to run those generators in peak time to alleviate the...
Well, they run anyway. Once we lower share, they come on.
No. I'm talking about even if the area's on.
They're not going to do that because it's expensive. Not unless you credit them.
No, well, it's expensive and they got to run when the power go off.
I believe BC credits Atlantis and Bama, eh?
I don't know. I'm not familiar.
I think so. So, you got to credit
because that's an arrangement, right?
Yes. So you can do that, but you got to make arrangements with these people.
The last thing I want to ask you is this. I saw you in the paper, man, and you're talking about they need $100 million injection. You got $100 million in your pocket, eh? Where that coming from?
Why don't you erase the legacy debt and give us the cash money?
I must raise.
No, but that's what you need to do. Listen, Ed.
No,
listen.
Let me make you understand something. Bond. Right. I want people to talk about this. Let me make
the public understand what's going on. BC's in debt about $600 million, right? And that has to be, and what was supposed to happen is that was supposed to be erased, and that's why they formed BPL to go across, and BEC was supposed to be BPL's parent company, and BPL was supposed to be no debt, and they're supposed to have cash to do what they had to do. Right. All right, now what we got going on here now?
Still carrying the debt?
Yes, they are. What we got going on here now is. You got those engines down at 5th and Pier, but you forgot, what you failed to forget is we need to fix the T&D system. And if the T&D system is fixed, if it's not fixed, those engines ain't gonna do no good, because the first lightning storm comes, those engines will be tripping offline and stuff like that, and they're gonna end up getting destroyed. You need to fix the two in conjunction. And so you took $95 million out of the capital budget. And by the way, it's going to cost about $132 when it's all finished. $132 million. You took $95 million. Now you've left no other money, no other cash in BC to do anything.
But you got to have new generators, Paul. I mean,
I hear what you're saying, but I'm saying to you, you also got to fix the T&D system. Richard, if a lightning storm passes, well, you ain't got to worry about the power going off. Listen, you got to do that.
How old
is the T&D system? About 40 years old.
Yeah, so the same as,
so you see what I'm saying? So it needs to be modernized. You got to fix the grid.
It's a big.
You see
what's going on the radio. If we weren't on the radio, you know what I'd be saying, because we're in big.
Yeah, but you see what's going on. You've done it. You've seen this come through your corner, and we've had to fix someone's thing, and we got to dig up the grass. Your nice plant lawns. You know, you're going those big time communities. Right. You know, we got to dig up the grass and look for the cable thing, and we got to go and dig up another point. And see, you need to fix all that. We need to put turrets down so your cable will run directly to the turret, and the cables will come down, and you can just do what you have to do like in the States.
But I mean, I always wonder why when you have a development, you're not putting in the stuff and then having, put everything at each lot.
Yeah, but it's cheaper for people to just run the cable, and you have to go. What we do is we come and run your cable, put it across the road, dig the hole, and then tap it live so you can get power. But, you shouldn't have to do that. You should just put a turret there.
Yeah, so I plug at each lot.
Right. That's correct. Right.
Well, it's a big... listen, let me tell you what I've concluded, Mr. Maynard. Sir, there is what's the word? Maelstrom, of issues.
Yeah.
Okay? In other words, what Gully and them will say is a big, you know what? Okay? Okay? I say maelstrom, Gully say is a big, you know what?
Yeah.
Okay? Of errors. Yeah. Of circumstances, you see, and that's why what I want to do is say, look, I see something, because for the last, what, can we say this, 15, 20 years, nothing was done, right? Nothing to modernize.
No.
Okay, is that accurate?
They kept kicking the can down the road.
So at least we see, it's like, you remember the airport? At least we saw the plan for the airport, the airport getting built, and now no one complains about the airport.
Yeah, no one complains about it.
Okay? And I'm just hoping that
Except the pilots. Take too long to take off, etc.
Yeah, well, that's all another story. And you know why they complain? The business is so good, the private planes coming in. Yeah. But I'm hoping that, Paul, like the roads, like the airport, hopefully like the new port that's coming on stream at Prince George, right? That this year, by December of this year,
hopefully our program to do a Bay Street.
But we'll be working on that as we speak, right? As you know, that all of these things will start to materialize. Because you know what I think, to be honest with you? No matter how much communication you put out there, no matter how much apologies you put out there.
They always around you. The
bathroom smell bad.
Yeah. But
okay, and until you fix the bathroom.
And the thing about Bay Street is, right, a lot of Bahamians don't go to Miami anymore. So they haven't seen the turnaround of Biscayne Boulevard, right? And that's Bay Street. Yeah. Because you got to put the condos up there, and people just use the restaurants up there. That's what I got to do.
You know that story. Yeah. But things are happening. I know, like I said, the U.S. Embassy is getting ready to, I think, start its building. I don't know when, but I see work, surveying and stuff going on. The government is going to put in the central bank and hopefully demolish the post office. The point is under construction. The port is getting ready to roll out, and of course we're looking at doing Central Park and the Arawak development very shortly, and then there's east of East Street.
And of course, that's another thing. For the port development, Nassau Street is getting ready to get dug up to lay the cables for the port.
Well,
for the point. Sorry.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah.
And just pave it afterwards. Hey, listen, Paul Maynard, please come back. I see, and I don't know if you. I
love having you on the show.
Yeah, you got the Jewish Star of David on. I don't know. I don't even know what that's about.
I'm a Hebrew.
Right. Yeah, right.
Yeah, I'm a Hebrew.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, that's you're Hebrew as much as that stuff you was telling us about tree amps and all that. We got to go. Paul, thank you very much for coming by, and we'll also. But just want to let people know we're going to have the management on as well. We get both sides of the story, and hopefully in the next couple of months this can all be resolved. Thank you, Ken.
Thank you.
Rogan, we'll see you.
Monday.